Good morning, and War Eagle. I'll start by saying a happy birthday to a young lady over there. So happy birthday. It's going to be a truly exciting day for Auburn. Before I get into all my remarks, I want to thank everybody for attending today, especially members of our Board of Trustees, local officials, tough board members. Frankly, there's too many of you to introduce individually, but I truly appreciate everybody being here today. We're going to introduce a new member of the Auburn family, and actually his whole family today. One of the most exciting days in Auburn athletics, and I'm really proud to be at the podium. I want to start by thanking the members of the search committee. These are individuals who donated their time and energy, cleared their calendars to help us search for a new leader for Auburn University. So for Gaines, who chaired the committee, Kim, Jason, AJ, Beverly, Quentin, I know some of you here today, thank you for what you did. This was yeoman's work, and putting leadership of Auburn athletics as a top priority was hugely important. And I'll tell you, they were hugely successful, and that's what we're here to talk about today. But before I introduce Alan and bring Alan to the podium, I want to talk a little bit about Jay Jacobs, who's here in the audience today. It's a real pleasure to recognize Jay and his accomplishments to Auburn University, Auburn Athletics. He's been here since 2005 as AD, but longer than that. He rose up through the ranks here as a student athlete, through the athletics department, and provided just tremendous leadership. In fact, his list of accomplishments is really too long for me to go through today. But I'll say first, as a university president, Alan needs to be listening to this part. Graduating student athletes is one of the measures I put on athletics, and Jay has done a tremendous job. Our graduation rate for student athletes is at a record level, thanks to Jay's leadership, and this is truly an accomplishment Auburn can be proud of. And it wasn't just success in the classroom. You know, I focus on that as an academic, as president. But if you look at what we did, Auburn won 12 national championships, 25 conference championships under Jay's leadership. Tremendous. And Jay's mantra since he's been at Auburn is the best school for the best athletes. And that was more than just an aspiration. We actually accomplished it under his leadership. So the Auburn family thanks you, Jay. Credible legacy of success, always putting Auburn first. And that's what led us to today. And so as we searched for the 15th director of Auburn Athletics, the committee heard over and over again about Alan Greene. Everywhere I went, people I talked to in other states, people I knew in the athletics community from my time in service on NCAA board said, you need to look at this guy. And we did. And they kept saying things like, he's a superstar. He's truly an elite leader. If you don't hire him, Steve, you'll regret this. And, you know, that resonated with me. One sitting AD told me this could be the best hire you make as president. And those are the kinds of things we heard about Alan. And so the really good news is we got him. And this was a mutual recruitment here, and it worked out. Many of you know that Alan comes to us after leading athletics at University of Buffalo, but he has other experiences across the country. He served kind of inside the house in compliance, outside the house in fundraising. He has stints at Notre Dame, Indiana, and Mississippi. And Alan knows what it's like to be in the upper echelons of collegiate athletics. He was a student athlete playing Notre Dame baseball for 3 years, and then drafted and playing in the Yankees organization for a number of years. And when this search started, we thought about what skill set do we need. And clearly we wanted someone of integrity, a proven leader, and someone with the knowledge, skills, and abilities to lead us forward. But I was also hoping to get a former student athlete. I was also hoping to get someone that had spent time in the Southeast Conference. And we got all that in Alan. It's an incredible fit for us. Leadership, enthusiasm, experience, management skills. He had everything we were looking for and more. And what really impressed me were his references. The people that knew this man well and people that I knew were willing to say things about him that I'd not really heard before. Many of you know Kevin White, the longtime sitting AD at Duke, well known in the community. He knows what it takes to excel in collegiate athletics. And here's what he told me about Alan. He said, he is a stalwart within the heartbeat of the highly competitive. He will be a stalwart within the highly competitive SEC, as well as a serious leader nationally around the myriad of respective NCAA and college football playoff interests. And a matter of fact, some of Alan's colleagues drove all the way here from Mississippi and Florida to be with him today. That says a lot about the relationships he's built and what the athletic community thinks of Alan and his ability. Very, very impressive endorsement. So we have Alan here today with his incredible family. Janet and I got the pleasure last night of having a dinner with them. They're delightful. They'll not only be great ambassadors for Auburn Athletics, they'll be great ambassadors for Auburn, which is just tremendous. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to introduce, and I want you to give an enthusiastic welcome and War Eagle to Alan Greene, the next AD at Auburn University. Alan.
War Eagle. War Eagle. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to come. I appreciate the honor. President Leith, those words, I'm humbled. Thank you very much for articulating those things so well. I really appreciate it. We've been in Auburn for, I don't know, maybe not even 24 hours, and can feel the love and the passion for this outstanding institution and university and community. And President Leith and his wife Janet have been incredibly hospitable. The Southern hospitality has been tremendous. So much so, and I think you went overboard on this, but he went as far as to dial up some cooler weather for us in preparation for this. So thank you again, Dr. Leith. The search committee, and you named them by name, Dr. Leith, and so I won't do so, but to the search committee, thank you all. I got a sense in the flavor of Auburn very, very quickly, and it was because of your passion and your energy and your pride for Auburn University that made me feel like very much like home. To Jay, thank you, man. It's a pleasure. Enjoyed talking with you earlier, and look forward to talking to you. You served this university and have represented Auburn so well for nearly 3 decades or so. So thank you for everything you've done. I really appreciate that. To my colleagues at UB, in particular, President Tripathi, who gave me an opportunity to lead an athletics department. And so, President Tripathi, thank you for your belief in me to lead. Special thanks to the coaches at the University at Buffalo and to the staff that I was able to work with. Truly love you, and look forward to getting back to say our goodbyes. My parents are here. You were supposed to be calm. My mother, Linda, came from Seattle. She was actually with us in Buffalo prior to the trip down here. But Mom, thank you for being such a rock in my life. I really appreciate it. My dad, Claude, and his wife, Jane, came out from Arizona. In fact, they were here. You guys have been here for a week, I think. They came out here to set up shop and to give the lay of the land before we came. But I thank you guys for being here, and thank you for everything that you've done to help me be where I am today. And to my family, Team Greene, as I like to call them, to my daughter Ryan, my son Samuel, and Seneca, who has turned 6 today. And she might think that some of this and most of this is for her. But happy birthday, sweetie. Happy birthday, sweetie. And to my wife, who I call my CEO, You have been a rock for me, and we would not be here without you. You are clearly the better half. I think those who get a chance to know you will know that you are the better half. And I don't want to forget some of my colleagues also. Some of them are here today. Thank you guys for your friendship and your leadership, and looking forward to many more years in this industry together. I wanted to, I have this script here that I want to go off of. I'm supposed to go off of, but I find it hard to. And the reason why is because earlier this morning I met with the senior staff and with some head coaches who were in town. And I talked to them a little bit about myself, my background. I asked them why Auburn, right? Why Auburn for you? And the people, the passion. And it's hard for me to sit here and articulate some notes that I wrote down a few days ago and do so sincerely without acknowledging Auburn is such a special place. And some of you wonder, why Auburn? And, Gus Malzahn said it. When he was here the first time, I think he was with Arkansas. He came to play against the University of Auburn, and he left here feeling just incredibly warm and a unique feeling of Auburn that it may be hard to put your finger on, but you and Christy both said, you know what, I could see myself there. After less than 24 hours, not only can we see ourselves here, but we are here. We are here. My story is a little bit unique, right? I started off on the compliance side of the house and moved over to fundraising and have kind of worked my way up. Been very fortunate to be and work with some outstanding people. And how I got into this industry, I think, is also a little bit unique. I got done playing minor league baseball, an old washed-up has-been, was working for a small IT department, writing computer code and running the finances, and I still had that yearning of being a baseball player. And so as I would head home from work every day, I would always stop by the baseball field before I popped in. And we weren't quite married. We weren't married yet. But I would also always stop by the baseball field to see my head coach and our assistant coaches and the guys, just to be around the guys. And one day it was in the spring, and there was a baseball game going on. And I pulled up, and along the third base side of the fence were two gentlemen in suits. One of them is Bernard Muir, who's at Stanford, and the other one is Bill Scholl, who is the AD at Marquette. And I said, why are you guys here? And they said, well, we're supporting the baseball team. And I said, whoa, wait, you get paid to watch baseball? And I said, this is a job I got to find. I got to get into this industry. And, long story short, and that's kind of how I got introduced. As a student athlete, and as you all student athletes who are here, and I thank you for being here, I don't know if you fully understand or grasp, which is completely okay. I don't know if you grasp all the people who work so hard to make your experience so great. I did not. Not even as a 22-year-old did I know how hard people worked and how passionate people were to make my experience at Notre Dame truly the best. So, Mike Wardlaw? Should I answer it? No? Okay. I don't know how to not answer it. This is a really old iPhone. I think we know somebody who can help you. All right, I'll put it on vibrate for you. It's all good. You're welcome. You're welcome. I forgot where I was. The student athlete experience. So part of why I am in this industry is to give back. Pay it forward, if you will. I had such a tremendous experience as an athlete. It helped shape my life in its entirety. And I would not be here this day if it wasn't for being a student athlete. So that is why I am here. That is basically my quick and dirty story. Auburn Athletics, the Tigers. What are we going to be about? I'm sure you all are very curious. When I met with the search committee, I talked about three overarching principles, things, the umbrella of which we will operate. Number one, it will be the student athlete, not only experience, but the educational experience. This is an institution of higher learning, a very quality higher education opportunity. We want our young people to get a meaningful degree and to graduate. That's important, right, Jay? athletically, we want you all to be incredibly successful. I've made this joke before, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I think Auburn is one of those cutting-edge athletic departments that has this brand new technology. You see it in Jordan-Hare Stadium. You've seen it in the baseball stadium. Brand new technology I think Auburn just acquired. They call it a scoreboard. And on that scoreboard, they keep score. It's revolutionary. We want and we will, at the end of every game, be winners. We will be champions. Our mission is to provide you as student athletes and our coaches every opportunity to win conference and SEC championships. We will invest ourselves heavily to do so. And thirdly, and possibly even most importantly, Auburn will stand for making sure that we create and produce productive members of society. It is incredibly important, particularly in today's time, that we make sure that you all are well equipped for the rigors and the intensity of the real world. There is no other greater time than right now, where there are so many people who are heavily invested, heavily involved in your success. The real world is a little bit different, and we want to make sure that you are prepared for that. We're going to do that through a few different ways. Our core values. Our core values are going to be bookended by the student-athlete experience and our quest for championships. We're going to make sure that we operate with integrity and compliance, particularly when it's most inconvenient. Our people are our most valuable commodity. We will make sure that we recruit, retain, and develop the most talented people within intercollegiate athletics. We want those people to be innovative or recognize that there are tremendous traditions here at Auburn University. The Tiger Walk, right? The Eagle, help me. The Eagle Flight, thank you. There are so many things. Toomer's Corner, I can't wait to roll. Am I allowed to roll at Toomer's Corner? I want to. There are so many rich traditions at Auburn University, but there are also plenty of opportunities. And we want our people to be armed and equipped and feel comfortable taking some chances, some calculated risks, and knowing that it's okay to fail, because when you fail, you learn. We want to be innovative as we move this athletics department and this university forward. We want to do so keeping in mind the importance of the culture of diversity and inclusion. There are a number of people in this world, and we don't all look alike. We don't all act alike. We don't all talk alike. We don't all believe in the same things, but that doesn't mean that we can't be teammates. Doesn't mean we can't be partners, brothers, or sisters. So we will embrace cultural diversity. We will embrace different beliefs. We will challenge one another to think differently, to be differently, all to make Auburn a better university. And like I said before, championships. Our quest for championships will be unwavering, and we will be incredibly committed to making sure that we bring home some hardware. Broadly speaking, the vision will be to raise the national profile of Auburn University in lockstep with President Leith. We want to make sure we develop our young people, and we want to make sure that we have athletic success. That is how we are going to operate here at Auburn University and help create a better environment for everyone associated with. So in closing, I understand that there are lofty expectations for Auburn athletics, and I embrace that wholeheartedly. Without these expectations, how do we expect to grow? How do we expect to better ourselves? How do we expect to push ourselves? The future is bright. It's incredibly bright, and I'm so happy to be here part of it at this point in time. And we've got some work to do. We're going to roll our sleeves up. We're going to get after it. We're going to be teammates together, and we're going to do all that we can to make the Auburn family proud. There was a quote that I found from Pat Riley, who is the president of the Miami Heat, and I remember him as the head coach for the Lakers. Some may do so as the Knicks. But to have long-term success, a coach or any position of leadership, you have to be obsessed in some way. You have got to be obsessed in some way. So as I stand here before you and as we get ready to kick off a new chapter of Auburn athletics, I'm committing to you my crazy obsession for the student-athlete experience, my crazy obsession for our quest to win championships, my crazy obsession to do the best I can to be an Auburn man, and my crazy obsession to make the Auburn family incredibly proud. President Lee, thank you again for the opportunity to lead this fantastic athletics department. and to be a part of your team. I look forward to serving and working with many of you in this room. The Auburn family is something special. It doesn't take long to figure that out. The coaches, some of you are here, the alumni, the student athletes, the fans, the donors, I'm incredibly humbled, and I don't use that term lightly. I'm incredibly humbled to be here today representing Auburn University. Now is a great time to be a Tiger, War Eagle.
Members of the media, I'm sorry.
No, feel
If you
free.
want to raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. Mark.
And if you don't mind, if you could state your affiliation and name, that would be really appreciative.
Yes, my name is Mark Murphy, Inside the Auburn Tigers magazine. I want to ask you, what are your early priorities in your new job? And also, from your time at Buffalo, what helped prepare you to be an athletic director here? And what did you really learn at Buffalo that's going to help you here?
Yeah. I'll take the second part first. I worked for a really incompetent athletic director at Buffalo, and that enabled me to shine the light. No, Danny White. I wasn't supposed to make fun of him, but I couldn't help myself. Danny and I are very close. He is a great mentor and a great friend. He was a first-time AD at the University at Buffalo, and as his number two, we went through a lot together, hiring coaches, firing coaches, reshaping an athletics department. That experience was instrumental. So that experience, I think, will transition quite well into this role. The first question, what will I do? I'm going to listen. Like after this and after the next round of media interviews, I'm going to shut up. And I'm just going to listen and soak in all that people have to offer. And that's how I'm going to navigate this first few months here. Thank you, Mark.
This is Dwayne Rankin, Montgomery Advertiser. First, congratulations on the position.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Secondly, obviously you're part of several organizations that include the Minority Opportunities Athletic Association.
Sure.
What does it mean for you personally to be the first African-American AD at Auburn, only the third in SEC history? And what kind of message do you think that sends throughout the country? Because there are not many African-American athletic directors at this level.
Dwayne, that's an outstanding question. A couple things. Number one, considering that earlier this week we celebrated the legacy of Dr. King. This is the 50th anniversary, I believe, of Mr. Harris, who was the first basketball student athlete to receive a scholarship, if I'm not mistaken, and to be the third person of color in this conference. I think speaks volumes to a couple of things. Number one, it speaks volumes to, I think, how far our country has progressed. Number two, I think it speaks to the leadership of President Leith, and I think it speaks to the passion of the Auburn family's acceptance of someone with my profile to be here. I would be naive to sit here and think that it doesn't mean something significant. I'd be naive to think so. I'm sure there are people out there who are watching. I'm sure there's, of the 400 texts that I have, that people are very proud and very happy for me and for, on the bigger picture, for our country, and to be in all sincerity. Then there's the other side of me, Dwayne, that thinks it's not a big deal. I consider myself a partner, a leader, and regardless of my gender, my sexual orientation, or my skin color, I'm here to serve, and that should transcend. So that would be my two answers for that.
Raise your hand if you have a question. No other questions?
You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, we can shut it down.
Pass the microphone.
We don't want to do that.
No.
We got plenty of time. My name is Jay Tate. I write about Auburn.
Jay
Tate.
Tate.
You can just call me JG. That's what most people call me anyway. AuburnSports.com. My question to you is about Ole Miss when you were there. Talk about what you learned there and kind of what lessons that you learned there could be applied to what you're doing now in the SEC.
I learned that you cannot wear reflective tennis shoes when you go turkey hunting at 4:30 in the morning. You all laugh. I'm dead serious. You can't do that. Did not know that. Did not know that. You know, I learned, so both, whether Ole Miss or Notre Dame, you learn to embrace the passion of the fan base. I remember at both stops, you know, people want to talk about sports, right? People are going to want to talk about Auburn athletics. And I embrace that. That is fun. I enjoy it. Recognizing that, you know, if we happen to go through a cold stretch, people are not going to be so warm. And when we go through a hot stretch, people are going to think the world of everything. So I think it's embracing the passion of the fan base that I learned most, but also understanding that, you know, these are games that we care so much about, and it's not the end of the world. We feel bad for a little bit, but there are bigger things. What I talk to our head coaches about is taking those challenges, those setbacks, and applying them to helping our young people grow in life. I think if we do that, we will be champions, no question. And as I've talked to student athletes and recruits, they want to be with coaches who are concerned about them more so as people than how fast they run, how hard they throw, how hard they kick. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to develop young people. And in doing so, we're going to have very, very competitive teams. I've seen you before.
I was outside the airport trying to get video and pictures of
No,
you.
you were pretty successful, if I
I
recall.
was okay.
So-so?
You guys did a good job looping around the airport and everything.
Thank you.
So
I had nothing to do with it.
yeah. Well,
Brandon.
people love to know who their AD is, getting to see him.
Sure. Of course.
Brendan Marcello, Auburn Undercover 24/7 Sports. I was just wondering, when it comes to football, obviously it's so huge here in the SEC. What do you foresee for Auburn football, whether it's facilities, anything else you can do to help make the program more successful off the field?
Coach Malzahn already hit me up for an indoor, not an indoor, but for a standalone football facility. So I think that's gonna be on the docket. You know, football certainly, you know, football is the driving engine of it all. This is an enterprise, and it's really, really important that football be successful. Part of something that I appreciate with this opportunity is having a chance to sit down with Coach Malzahn. I think the world of him, incredibly humble, wants to win the right way, and I'm really looking forward, Gus. I'm looking forward to working with you and supporting you to the best of my ability.
Philip Marshall also from Auburn 247 Sports. Been around like about as long as you've been alive.
All right, Philip. I'm only 22. You know that, right?
So, could you just kind of talk about how this came about to when you first realized this was a possibility that this could happen?
Yeah, you know, in our industry, certainly things happen for a wide variety of reasons. The opportunity opened. I thought, you know, Auburn's a pretty nice place from what I've heard of it, and certainly understand the strong history of athletics and the tradition. Didn't know much about the university. As we kind of went through the process, I again will reiterate the search committee that President Leith put together. Outstanding. You all and we are incredibly blessed to have such positive and strong representation. I came home from that first meeting and I told my wife, I said, I'm sold. And it is so true. It very, very quickly you learn to appreciate the values of the Auburn family and the Auburn creed, which I'm still working to get my hands around. That's lived every day. And that was all a part of my excitement about coming here.
Mr. Greene, hi. Simone Eli with CBS 42 in Birmingham.
Hi, Simone.
You talked a minute ago about wanting to pay it forward as a former student athlete. How do you think your time as a former student athlete at Notre Dame helps you in the job that you do, relate to the kids and do what you do day to day?
One of the hot topics right now is time demands and time management. And I remember being a sophomore in college. I don't think you know this. I'm looking at my parents. This doesn't implicate you in any way. You're safe. But I remember being a sophomore in college, and I remember thinking in baseball as a junior, that's if you can get drafted as a junior, you've done pretty well. And I remember thinking to myself, that was the first year that I was starting and playing consistently, and I remember the pressure. I remember the world feeling like it was closed in on me because I wanted to compete athletically. I was at a very academically rigorous institution, and I also wanted to have a social life, kind of the three core tenets of being a student athlete. And I remember having a nervous breakdown and just crying uncontrollably. I think the difference today is that I at least am part of that last generation that had the ability to cope with those types of pressures and anxiety. Our young people today, and this is not to be offensive, but more to be matter of fact, is that there just isn't life is different. Life is different for you all now, not only in terms of being in college, but also the way you grew up. You can ask Siri anything. You don't remember, some of you will, the Encyclopedia Britannica commercials. Like, we had to go look stuff up. You have it all at your fingertips. Young people are incredibly smarter today than they were before, but it's our responsibility to make sure, like I said before, that we're preparing young people for the real world. And so I think having gone through that experience, having lived in their shoes, albeit a different time, I think I can relate. I'm still at 22, young enough to relate to student athletes, but with having a wife and a family, have also a little bit of a different perspective.
Question,
Yeah.
James Crepey, AL.com. Alan, just as a timetable for, you said you're going to listen after this to folks. What is your timetable for implementing your plan and your vision and really getting your figurative hands around managing a department of this size and a staff of this size and some of the issues that you're inheriting in this position?
Well, if you have a crystal ball, I'd like to borrow it because I don't know. I don't have an answer. It's going to take me some time to get my feet wet, learn the landscape. It's going to take time for the staff, both coaches and athletic staff, to get a chance to know one another. So I think over time, as I get a chance to learn people, I'll start to figure out what needs to be done and to what degree. I think ultimately, though, to answer your question, is we all want to move Auburn forward, and we're going to work collectively to try to figure out how to do that in the best way possible.
question in the middle.
Matt Stevens, Montgomery Advertiser. First, I'd like to sincerely apologize for my crappy iPhone.
I don't even know if this is
It's a phone. Trust me. My question is that when I was doing research on you, and a lot of people, I had somebody at Buffalo talk to me about some of the times that weren't as great under your watch. You had to drop 4 sports. You had a football player die in an off-season workout. Yeah. And the one thing that person told me was, we knew we were going to be okay because Alan told me we were going to be okay. What did you kind of learn from those type of experiences that kind of allowed you to gain leadership experience?
It's a really good question. I think watching others. There's several people in this industry who I look up to. Honestly, I think about a Bubba Cunningham, who's gone through what he's gone through at North Carolina, and I kind of ask him the same question: How do you remain steady when there's all this noise going on? And honestly, I think it's developed over time. Like, I wasn't born with it. Well, parents know that. But over time, you develop an understanding that as the leader of the department, you've got to remain steady regardless of what's happening. And I think that it sounds like what you're talking about, the staff kind of fed off of that steadiness. And I think that's just it's a skill that's developed over time. Yeah.
We've got time for a few more.
Okay. Seneca, you all right? Ready for some birthday cake?
We're almost there. Hey, JG again. Early in your career, you were in compliance, and then you kind of switched over to development. To me, that's kind of a big change.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, and it kind of paved the path for you to get here, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that decision to make that change.
Less of a decision and more so of a revelation. When I was hired at Notre Dame by Sandy Barber, who is the athletic director at Penn State, and the athletic director at the time was Kevin White. And Sandy hired me in compliance. She thought I'd be a good fit there. Sandy, if you're watching, I'm glad that you did, but I'm also glad you pulled me out. It kind of became apparent after a couple years that I was probably better suited for the external side of the house. And fortunately, I had a boss and a big boss that felt the same way, and it just kind of took some time to get over into the development side. It's not a normal transition, I know, but I think just based on my makeup, it seemed to make sense. So I'm very appreciative of Sandy and Kevin for recognizing that and actually being able to do something about it.
Dwayne, and then John will wrap up.
Okay, thank you, Kurt.
You just mentioned Sandy and Kevin. What did you learn from those two that has enabled you to be in this position?
Christy and I talk about this. There a lot. But if I'm thinking really off the top of my head, there was an event at Kevin's house on a football Friday, and Christy and I were there along with some other staff members, and I'm low guy on the totem pole. He should have no idea who I am. And he walked over and he said, "Hey, Alan, welcome." And he said, "Hello, Christy, how are you?" And the fact that he knew my wife's name meant the world to me. Maya Angelou has a quote. Basically, people will forget what you say, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And we've never forgotten how Kevin made us feel. And Sandy is somebody who, she obviously, if you can tell by my face, she lights me up. She's so good at navigating everything. She really taught me that it's okay for things to be frantic, and they are going to be frantic. And to the question before about being steady, Sandy was always steady. And as a young administrator, watching her do her thing, it was inspiring. So I owe Sandy a lot because she got me in this industry, and she also doesn't let me forget that. Yeah, I think one more question. Yeah.
John Zener with Associated Press.
Hey,
First
John.
off, you shouldn't have to work on your daughter's birthday. But secondly,
This is college athletics, right? Yeah.
How much did you learn kind of in this process about what had gone on and was going on with the review of the basketball program and what happened with that?
Sure. I think from the outside looking in, you see stuff, but I still have a lot to learn, and I'll take the next however long it takes to learn about everything, whether it be some of the things that were in the paper that may not shed such a good light on Auburn University, or even some of the positive things. I'm really looking forward, Coach, to the basketball game on Saturday. Me and Aubrey are going to be right there. We'll be there ready to go. We'll do one more question if there is one. If not, we'll get out of here.
Any other takers?
Nope. All right. Thank you all very much for your time. War Eagle.